So this is, as you can imagine, somebody said it the other day to me. They said, "Gee, Jim, you sit on the porch. How do you feel about Allie?" And she said, "Oh, wait a minute. I can see your buttons jumping off of your shoe." So obviously this is Allie, and unfortunately for Allie, I've been talking to her about a lot of these people all summer. So it's kind of the kiss of death. But I'll introduce Allie, if that's okay.
Right.
So our second speaker happens to be my daughter, Allie Stewart. I've had the privilege and the luck to be her dad. I have been fortunate enough to carry Allie many places. And conversely, she has carried me in just as many. Rather than list her achievements based on her avatar of Christ the Son, I would like to try to describe who she is right now. Right now, in this moment, she is a beacon of light. She shines with an aura of love and strength. Her engagement with others creates power and courage with the recipient of people being with her. Her message comes across in capital letters without even trying. Her relaxed, open, authentic style transforms a freedom to others. There is nothing to hide. In fact, she screams with confidence and humility. She is a woman being imperfectly perfect, making the world a better place. So Allie went to a conference this summer, and I'll stop talking. And she came back and said, forget about goals, Dad. It's not goals of what do I want to be. You can help me. It's not what am I going to accomplish. It's what am I right now? Who am I right now? And if I'm who I want to be right now, those goals will just flow. So I'll leave you at that. Not that you need any introduction.
No, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me here today. And Long Beach Island is like one of the most special places to me in the world. There's a million things I should be doing right now, and all I want to do is be down here. So, thank you. And my dad and I have been talking a lot in the past week, actually, about, I just released these Team Allie t-shirts, and on the back it says, "Make your limitations your opportunities." And so I've been thinking a lot about this because I think that a lot of people try to hide the things they're not good at, their limitations. And I got the gift of not being able to hide. When I come into a room, and I roll into a room, I can't hide it. And so therefore, I have had to learn to fully accept and love my limitations. And then, in my life, all these opportunities have come from being in a chair, from what a lot of people would view as an obstacle. And so, the thing that I'm excited about talking about, to all of you, and next week my dad works with these women at the Hudson County Jail, is, really embracing and looking at what you're not as good at and sharing that. Because when you share those kinds of things with other people, it immediately puts you at a human level. You know what I mean? People can understand that. People can relate to that. And I think that if all of us in the world were a little more open about what we're afraid of or what we think we're not as good at, I think that we would all be a little more compassionate towards each other. And that really is my message right now, is leading from your heart, leading from love and compassion for people that you might immediately write off as oh, I would never get along with him. he's like this, he's a Republican, he's a whatever. You know what I mean? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why not open yourself up? You just never know. And I've had so many experiences in the past too, all my life, but especially this year, of just when I was open to new things, all of a sudden things felt like they went to the next level, which is, where I'm at, where I'm so excited about being at another level and then getting to the next level. And just a little bit about what you were talking about, the goals, instead of saying I am going to, it's I am, which I love. I want to be on Broadway. That is one of my goals. That's one of my dreams. Instead of saying I am going to be, it's I am on Broadway. I am going to do that. I am going to make that dream reality. And I sort of like that language, because for so many years you can say, well, I'm going to get organized. I'm going to take my kids to, to the beach. I am. And so I'm really excited about that part of my life, of making those dreams not just something, that's going to happen in 3 years, 4 years. Of course you're going to be reasonable with myself. My goal is to write an original one-woman show to bring to Broadway. And I know that can't happen tomorrow. That takes so much work. That is going to take so much work. And I'm so excited about that work because it aligns with what I want to do. And,
So tell us a little bit about your life. When did you start coming to LBI? What happened down here that turned your life around?
Oh my gosh.
And then what was it like in middle school in a wheelchair? How did you feel in high school? And where'd you give us a little bit of your story?
Cool. So, my family bought a house on Long Beach Island in the summer of 1994, I think we figured it out, or 5. And the first summer I started coming down, my next door neighbor, had just come back from theater camp. She was like 12 and I was like 7 at the time. And she decided we were going to do a production of Annie in our backyard. And I had never done a show, but I loved music. And we all met in her, all the kids from the neighborhood met in her living room. And she asked all of us to sing. And she asked me to sing, will you sing something for me? And I was like, she was like, what songs do you know? And I was like, I don't know any songs. She's like, do you know Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? And I was like, and so I sang that song for her, and she cast me as Annie. All that song. Wow, a lot of faith. Jeez. So we rehearsed that show all summer long, and then we did the production, and it's crazy because we all have interesting memories of what we remember, but my earliest memory, when I remember my life starting, was that summer, because all of a sudden, at that point in my life, I needed an identity other than the girl in the wheelchair. And all of a sudden it was I can be the girl who sings and dances and acts and is a performer. It gave me so much confidence. And I remember you guys saying, you were like, that was the summer that you came out of your shell. And I was in my shell because I had been in a car accident when I was 2, and that was a really traumatic experience. And my mom even says afterwards, I don't remember any of it, but my mom says afterwards, I didn't really talk, I didn't really know what was going on, but clearly a lot of trauma. And so that summer, I was able to really open up. And so that's, one of the 1,000 reasons why I love Uncle John. But then from there, I started doing shows in my hometown, and really, I became serious about it. At about 12, I was doing a singing thing in New York City, and then I started working with an agent, and I knew, I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. It was just, it fell right into my lap, and it was so aligned with everything I loved. And then I went to NYU and studied theater, and I loved it. Finally.
What happened when you went there? What did they tell you?
Oh, so I get to NYU, I'm so excited. I got in early. I was like, yes, apply to any more colleges, all that nonsense. And I get to the meeting, because we met like that summer before I started in the fall. And they were like, so, we're not sure if this is going to work. And I was like, okay. Like, you accepted me into your program, but I feel a lot of doubts. And so they were like, well, we don't really want you to take dance classes. We want you to sit and observe and take notes. And, you know, as soon as somebody tells me I can't do something, I'm like, yes, here we go. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay. Well, I was like, well, what's going on? Like, what are you guys afraid of? Like, what, you know? And they were like, hi. They were like, well, we are afraid that the other students in the class will be uncomfortable, and we're afraid that the teacher's going to be distracted because, you know, if there's somebody in a wheelchair in the class, then they're going to be distracted. And, you know, in my head, I'm like, you know, thinking, oh my gosh, I can't wait. And so I said, listen, I promise you that I won't make anybody uncomfortable, and I promise you that this will work out. Let's just keep talking. Let's just keep a dialogue going. And they agreed to it. They're like, okay. By the second, third week of class, I was like, you know, doing the warm-up, and then certain things I would sit out when I felt the teacher. But I had to like feel the teacher, because there were certain teachers that were like, yeah, let's figure out how to do the bar, you know, in your chair with your arms. And then there were certain teachers that were like, don't do across the floors. And I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, choose your battles. It's fine. So, yeah, and then I ended up graduating and was chosen as the Tisch representative to accept the diploma at Yankee Stadium, which was just like, pinch me, please. Like, sitting there next to Hillary Clinton, like, you know, in front of like 30,000 people. It was like, what is that? Like, what's happening? And I had the opportunity while I was there to study in Amsterdam, and just, it was incredible the amount of opportunities I had just in that 4-year experience, and I needed to change my life. So then after that, I graduated and did a show with Jane Krakowski, she's from 30 Rock, and she was like one of my idols, and I was like, again, pinch me please, how am I sitting opposite Jane Krakowski and acting with her? Like, what? And then I moved to LA for 2 years, and that was like 2 of the hardest years, because I just graduated college, and I was like, how do I do this? You know, I know what my dreams and my goals are. Like, how do you actually?
But you just went. I mean,
right. I was like, Dad, I'm moving to LA. It's like, okay. And yeah, I went to like figure it out. So I get there, and it was just a lot of time on my own. And I hadn't spent a lot of alone time in my life. And it's really where I learned the most about myself. And I really moved there with the intention of getting on Glee. I was like, I'm going to audition. So I ended up auditioning at the casting office, and that didn't, I didn't ever hear anything. I had heard that they really loved the tape, and it was great, but I hadn't heard anything. And then the first year of the Glee project, I auditioned. I had gotten another show, the Spelling Bee, at the Paper Mill Playhouse in Milburn. And I was going into the opening weekend of the show, and they called me. They're like, we would love for you to come to the callbacks. No. I was just like, no, this can't be happening. And so I couldn't go. And then the second season came around, and I auditioned, and I got the show. And this summer, I've been on the show all summer long, and like...
What was it like in California?
Well, we were shooting the show?
Yeah, what they call the day before Christmas.
Oh, yeah, they called 2 days before Christmas on Skype, and they're like, this has been a really difficult, decision. It's been so, and this is such a specific puzzle that we're trying to place together, and, so much talent, and you are a perfect part of that puzzle. And there's, I think, some sort of, like, promo online of me, like, screaming when I got the call. I was so excited. And so it's 2 days before Christmas, and then 3 weeks later, I was supposed to fly out, and get there, they take your cell phones, they take your computers, and you're not allowed to leave this set for however long. You don't know how long you're going to be there. And that was one of the most challenging and exciting opportunities because all of a sudden, every day I can check in with my dad and my mom. Like, it's like what grounds me is my family. And then they're like, no, give me your phone, give me your computer. Like, you are separated from the outside world, which was insane. I mean, that was really, really hard. And then we started shooting, and the greatest lesson I learned from the Glee Project is that I am enough. Like, I am enough. I used to think, like, a perfect example about, like, the dance class. Like, we don't want you to take dance. Like, there, I felt like I have to make sure everyone's okay with me. Like, when I walk in a room, I have to make sure, like, everyone's comfortable. And I learned, being on the show, that, like, just me walking into a room, like, it's fine the way I am. Like, I don't have to overcompensate. And I think I had been doing that because I was so scared. I was like, well, what if people are uncomfortable? It's not me, it's them. But I learned that, you know what I mean? And that my story is enough. I had always doubted when I was on the show. I was like, well, they already have, like, a character in a wheelchair in Glee. Like, why do they want me? Well, they want me because I'm nothing like that kid. And great, the wheelchair's part of the story, but that's not the story. And that's what I love. And Ryan Murphy said it the other night on the show. Is like, I want to write this character. The last part about it, like, the story is not about the girl in the wheelchair. That's just a part of it, but it's about her. And, like, that makes me feel so full that I am enough. I don't need this to, like, make a point. Like, I'm enough. So that was really the greatest lesson out of that experience.
So your back of your shirt says turn limitations into opportunities.
Make your limitations your opportunities.
And so do you feel like you can help others in some way? Like Allie's involved right now in a giant project for this fall, and it's a really giving project. Why don't you tell me that?
Yeah. So I, grew up in a family where my dad is a teacher, and my mom is just literally, like, it should be like Jody Schleicher, giver. Like, she gives a lot to other people. And I just had always felt like what I received, everything that anyone had ever given me, I wanted to give back. And when I was growing up, people gave us, like, free tennis lessons and free horseback riding lessons and just time and energy and support. And it was like, I'm in a position where I can now, like, because of all that love, I can give it back. So I did a lot of volunteer work in college. I went to South Africa last summer and worked at this orphanage for 2 weeks. And this year, I met a guy named Justin Chase who started a non-for-profit called Be More Heroic. And it is an anti-bullying campaign. And we're doing a school tour this fall. We're going to schools all over the country with a show of music and skits and video about, like, just basically pro-love, pro-compassion. Let's make being a hero the cool thing to be, instead of being the jerk in the cafeteria or the mean girls or whatever. Like, let's make that uncool, and let's bring this movement to this younger generation, because the bullying thing is now at a place where I think, like, I can't ignore it. We can't ignore it. So I feel really passionate about it. I'm so excited, and so BeMoreHeroic.com if you want to look up more. And I'm excited about the school tour because I can also, because it's like a performance opportunity, I found a way to, like, still perform and share what I love to do and be saying something, which is, exactly what I want to do. I want to be able to say something while I'm doing what I love.
So at what point did you no longer want to run down the street and no longer want to walk? That became not even an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to have this conversation with people, and they would say, well, like, do you want to walk one day? How cool would it be to walk one day? And I was sort of like, no.